part of communication strategies is this thing called perception management. I'm just going to talk very briefly about perception management because a lot of people don't realise how important it is in a communications process. Part of perception is that if you think of your mind as a computer, so from the moment you are born and you start to communicate with the world, all your experiences are basically recording to a hard drive. And then the mind actually has difficulty dealing with information that's missing. So the moment you meet a person for the first time that you've never met before, your mind actually races back and thinks, have I met this individual before? No, I haven't. What's the next best thing? Does this person remind me of somebody? So have they got physical attributes or sounds or smells that remind me of a past event? And then you'll either have a positive feeling towards that or a negative feeling towards that depending on your past experiences. Have you ever had that feeling late at night when you see someone walking towards you and inexplicably the hair on your back of your neck goes up? Yeah, that's the primal part of your brain kicking in, reminding you of past experiences and telling you that the environment's right for it to be risky, so therefore take care of your safety. It's a very important part of personal safety. But likewise, from communications point of view, everyone in the room likely would have formed, at a subconscious level, a interpretation of what I was going to be like the moment I walked up. For those who might have talked to me earlier, and they say the human mind can actually do that within about 15 seconds. They used to say it used to be 30 seconds, but now they're saying it happens far more rapidly. And that's perception, and it affects the way we all communicate. For example, I'll give you a scenario. An armed robber goes into a bank and tries to hold the bank up, and unbeknownst to the robbers, the police were having McDonald's down the street a little bit close by, so when the alarm went off, they got there very quickly, surrounded the bank, and now you've got a bunch of armed robbers holding bank staff hostage. And then as a negotiator, you have to ring up and you have to make contact with the individual holding these people hostage. And when you do that, and you get the other person on the other end of the phone, you hear this high-pitched, high-volume, rapid speech. Okay? Let's get some hands up. Who thinks that's a good thing? Who says that's a bad thing? Who says we're not hostage negotiators? Don't ask me that question. Well, I'll give you an example of how hostage negotiators would interpret that, starting to take perception into account. Generally, people who speak in high-pitch, high-volume voices are uncomfortable with the environment. Okay? So then you would ask, well, why are they uncomfortable in the environment? Well, the armed robber doesn't really want to hold hostages. Or they've never done this before and they're totally outside their comfort zone. So now we're dealing with somebody who may not actually want to be in that situation, or two, is very uncomfortable with the situation they find themselves in. So straight away you can think, well, we can help with that. We can help alleviate that by getting the hostages out, and we can alleviate their other concerns as well. Conversely, you now ring up and the person you speak to is talking in a very controlled tone. Controlled pitch, controlled volume, controlled speed. And the first impression you get, because this is about impressions, is, wow, this person seems to be in control. Then you ask the question, why does this person sound to be in control? Because they intended to hold hostages, so it wasn't really a bank robbery? Or two, they've done this many times before and they're actually quite comfortable in the environment. So who would have thought prior to today that you can get so much of strategic thought just from vocal nuances, pitch, volume, speed? And that's what strategic communication is all about. It's about reading those cues and trying to quickly analyse it and then using it to your advantage. When we hear things, see things, smell, touch, and then information's missing, your mind will fill the blanks. Our minds do not like dealing with the unknown. And to give you an example, put your hand up if you cannot see a white triangle in the middle of that page. But there is no white triangle. There's a couple of little Pac-Man things and a couple of lines and V's. But because your mind automatically says, okay, well, that's the shape, so therefore there's a white triangle there. Likewise, I'm pretty sure that most people in the room can actually read that paragraph without too much difficulty. I see lots of nodding, yep. And that's what they say. As long as the first letter and the last letter is in the correct order, your mind will quickly unjumble the message. So how does that relate to communications processes? Well, if you're having a difficult communications with a colleague or at home, and they're asking you for specific information and you leave big chunks of important information out, guess what the other person will do? Their mind will fill the blanks. And in the absence of concrete information, they'll fill it with whatever makes sense to them. And that's how miscommunications occur. So from a management point of view, if you're dealing with difficult communications within your workplace, one strategy is to always make sure you give all the correct information to fill those blanks. Don't allow missing information.